Look, have mercy on me.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On the Bluff. I'm your host, Christian Fowler. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Gabe Kuhn. What's up, Gabe?
What's up, dude?
How you doing?
I took a trip back to St. Louis. Back-to-back weekends. I had Chicago and then St. Louis.
Yeah.
Best city in America. One of the best cities in America to get food. Worst city in America to get food. St. Louis.
Think
my
St. Louis
hometown.
is the worst?
Well, I mean, it's close.
Twisted Ranch is
Close.
Wait,
Twisted Ranch is solid. I guess more so I'm speaking to where I was at. I was out in West County where I was raised. There
Okay, there's nothing out there.
ain't shit to eat out
nothing
there.
out there.
I did get an Emo's pizza though.
Yeah.
somebody called me today and said, I'm in Collierville this morning. Where should I eat? And I'm like,
No,
I don't know.
I have no earthly idea.
Silver Caboose.
I'm like,
What's
Booyah's, maybe?
Yeah, Booyah's. That's what I was
is
going to bring
good.
up. Booyah's
Memphis
like
Pizza Cafe.
Memphis
I can
Pizza
rock with.
Cafe. Yeah. I was like, listen, man, if Tracy and I are trying to go in town or trying to go eat somewhere nice, we just go in town, man. We don't mess around in Collierville.
No.
Where would like Tony's Trophy Room? Is that Germantown?
That's
Collierville. That's straight Collierville.
That's solid.
There's a little
Skybox, solid.
What's that?
It's a
Skybox
bar.
Grill,
It's
bar
a
and grill.
restaurant bar and
Very
grill.
solid.
Very.
What-
Skybox is better than Tony's.
Yes.
Kenny, there's a little pizza place in the square, like a little Italian place in the square.
It's
pretty
gone
sure.
now, I think.
Is it?
It got replaced. No, there was two Italian spots. One is the pizza place you're talking about.
It's kind of it's like there's like white tablecloths on
what
the
is it
tables and
called?
stuff. It's really freaking good, actually.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
Can't think of the name
But
of
yeah,
it.
St. Louis, I had to get my Emo's pizza. I was good after that.
After that, you were straight.
I mean, the Italian spots on the hill are good, but outside of that, St. Louis is kind of a meh.
Cafe
city.
Piazza is what you're talking about.
Cafe
Christian.
Piazza. Yep. Twisted Ranch is hit.
Yeah, and they have, but the thing is, like, that's a gimmicky restaurant.
Absolutely.
They have like 12 different types of ranch.
but they're all
they're all good. Like one of their biggest, their like top selling appetizer for those who don't know about Twisted Ranch in St. Louis. There's like 2 locations now, I think, 2 or 3.
Yeah, there's 2.
Their biggest appetizer that they serve is they just give you fries and then they put all their ranches around it.
Heck yeah.
That's
It's
gimmicky
cool.
though. That's very gimmicky.
But the actual, I mean, I got a burger there.
Solid.
It was a good burger. But it's like, so Kenny, it's like you get when you sit down, there's a piece of paper, yeah, like at your table, and you take the piece of paper and you mark which ranches you want. Because there's a legit like 40 of them. So you pick like,
How American is that, by the way?
you pick like 12 or 15 and you give it to them and they bring it, and they're all good. They're all very good.
Fattening Midwest,
Yes.
nasty.
The cheddar-
It's
Ranch
great.
dressing is low key like my favorite condiment. I
Well,
think.
okay, best ranch dressing though. Can we all agree Wingstop has like
Wingstop is top tier.
Oh, it's top tier ranch.
You know what? You know what's my favorite in Memphis is Huey's. Huey's Ranch is
Huey's
just
is good.
fire.
Huey's top tier.
Memphis Pizza Cafe too.
Memphis Pizza
Yeah,
Cafe
yeah,
is good.
Got to
Lost
put them in that.
Pizzas is fire too.
I don't like
I've
Lost
never been
Pizza.
there.
They have
been
one in
there.
Collierville.
I love Lost Pizza.
Okay.
Not a big fan.
But
Because
yeah.
my favorite is chicken and pineapple pizza. I love it.
Yeah.
And their chicken and pineapple is boo-boo juice.
And I love how we're talking about food off the top when like a couple weeks ago we got a bunch of comments from all you listeners out there.
yeah.
Thanks for listening about how we're the hungriest,
podcast
ever.
Yeah.
I don't know
think
if you
so.
noticed, but we pretty much start off every episode talking about
Yeah,
food.
but no, why I was in St. Louis, I brought up food first. I was in for a funeral for my beloved Aunt Kay. And
Sorry
it
to
was
hear that.
it's
Sorry to hear that, man.
It's, she was suffering for a little bit, but she's in a better place now. But it was a. You ever been to like a surprisingly happy funeral? Like everybody was just in good spirits.
Yeah.
Got to drink with my family a little bit after they had a couple of cocktails because that's what Kay wanted us to do.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Catch up with family.
I think I would have liked Aunt Kay.
Funerals are like a very. It's just interesting, man. Like because it's like you don't want anyone in your family to die, but it always is kind of that excuse for everybody to
together.
come together. People you haven't seen in a while to catch up. For
sure.
That's always nice.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
I'll be going out of town this upcoming weekend,
Yeah.
to Arlington, Texas, to watch the Cowboys
Versus the Green Bay Packers.
versus the Green Bay Packers in the
Okay.
wild card round.
That'd be fun.
I can't wait.
Okay.
I have not been to a Cowboys game since 2005, so
How-
I've never even been to AT&T Stadium
Oh, it's-
as a
a
Cowboys
Cow-
game.
yeah, you've
Went
been
to
there,
the
yeah.
Cotton Bowl, but
That's gonna be fun.
oh, dude, I'm psyched.
You're gonna be so. Are you even gonna show up next Monday if they lose to the Packers?
I don't know, boys. I might cancel next Monday.
This might be a Kenny and Gabe episode.
For real, are you going to be okay? Because I know every Cowboy fan mentally prepares himself for the inevitable playoff loss that the Cowboys
will suffer at some point.
Get sent home with.
Yeah.
But if it's the Packers, Cowboys fans are just going to be, talk them down off the ledge.
First year quarterback.
And by the way,
over a touchdown favorite.
Jordan Love. Credit where credit's due. 32 TDs, 11 INTs, 4,100 yards. It was a prove-it year, and he proved it. Like he's going to be the guy going forward.
It's not a game the Cowboys should lose.
Right.
There's a reason they're 7.5-point favorite.
I get it. I completely understand.
I mean, the Packers are better than expected this year, but their run defense is atrocious. The Cowboys are at home. They should win.
Can I bring up a discussion point that has been just all over my mind because I see a lot of Cowboys fans that are not Memphis fans by any stretch of the imagination going after Tony Pollard. What are your thoughts before we get into the Memphis basketball and everything else? What are your thoughts on Tony as the number one back?
I think did you watch any of the Cowboys and Commanders game?
I didn't
yesterday?
No. Because I knew it was going to be a blowout. I didn't get to watch any of it.
So Greg Olson, who we have applauded multiple times,
best guy doing it right now, and from an analyst perspective.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely agreed. He said the NFL works in a weird way. Sometimes you have explosive players that they're in a situation where you don't feel like they're getting the amount of carries that they should be getting based on their production with those carries. But he said you can look back through, and we know this is true, but you can look back through history, and there are hundreds of examples of players who were in a lesser role, got into an expanded role, and were not the same players that they were beforehand. Just because Tony is one of those players, and he's said it himself, he's not someone who needs 20 carries a game. That's not who he is. He wants a limited workload. So I think that may play a part into it, that maybe he is more of the Lightning and they don't have that Thunder role. Also, the offensive line just hasn't been as good this year. And also he is coming off of a devastating injury in the playoffs last year.
But he didn't lose a whole bunch of explosion.
No. It was, but just getting back in the groove.
He ran for 940, 960, something like that this year?
1,005.
1,005? Oh, counting the command. So he ran for 1,000 yards. I see people saying he's not number one back. And the way I think, and I brought this up with Jeff Calkins on my show, and he's like, how are you going to blame a number two back for a number one back not delivering great production? Because I do think Zeke was the Thunder to his Lightning, and it provided a different look. And I don't think that Tony's been handed the perfect keys to a great backfield with Rico Dowdle as his backup.
Rico Dowdle has not looked bad. I think Rico should have been getting more carries throughout the year.
But I don't know if that's the type of back that's going to make a defense think twice. You know what I mean?
I don't think Ezekiel Elliott was making anybody think twice.
But I think in between the tackles, pounding on people, not throwing it out to the edge consistently.
Yeah.
I think that provided once Tony got in, there was just a different look for him to take advantage of and exploit.
Agreed.
I don't think Rico Dowdle is going to provide that. I don't think he does.
No, I think he's solid.
I think they need a more balanced, deeper backfield than what they have right this second behind Tony.
I don't see him being with the Cowboys long term.
Tony? Yeah.
And they paid him $10 million this year on the franchise tag. I just don't see him being a guy that you sign long term.
Unless, if they came to a resolution where he's getting
if he wanted
money.
12 to 15 a year, I just don't think there's any way they would do that.
I don't know if backs are getting that. The secret. I don't think backs are getting that anyway.
No, I'm with you. Okay, let's transition from this because we're going to talk NFL.
I do want to say this before we get started. I want to applaud y'all's dedication to coming and filming a podcast on a Monday night. Because, listen, man, I'll be honest with you. I'm ready for the days we can go live and do this thing live in person on the YouTubes. But we filmed this on a Monday night, and guess what's going on right now?
Natty.
This is the third consecutive national championship that we have.
Last year we didn't miss much. We were good.
No,
it was good to miss that.
We recorded during Georgia TCU. We recorded during the basketball NCAA championship, and here we are for the second.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you guys for coming and recording tonight.
Of course.
When y'all could have easily said.
And also, sidebar, it's literally right here.
It's literally right there. So if y'all
We're not going to pan the camera to it, but it is right there.
It is.
If you see Christian looking over his right shoulder, that's what's going on.
And by the way, it's early second quarter, and Michael Penix Jr. just missed Jalen McMillan, I believe. It was either Jalen McMillan or Roma Dunze on a wide open corner route.
Wide open on a corner
check it out
route,
right here.
And
Look,
it was behind him.
It was a Dunze. Missed him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to come back later to haunt him.
Tough scenes. Okay, we're going to jump into Memphis basketball in just a second. First off, I want to shout out Michael and Kaylee, my best friend Michael, if you've been around the show for a while. He and his wife welcomed a beautiful baby girl into this world at 5:30 this morning, Monday morning. So pretty cool.
Shout out to Michael, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Big Mike.
New pops.
He's a father now.
Yes.
He's a girl dad.
And I'll tell you, he's my first close friend to have a kid. And I'll tell you, after me and Michael have been friends for 18 years now, after growing up with somebody for 18 years and seeing all the stupid things that he has done in that time and all the stupid things that we've done together, it is kind of crazy to think that he is now a father.
Now he's a daddy.
Now he is a dad. But moving on, Gabe, let's talk a little bit of Memphis basketball. We know that's what the people come for anyway. How are we feeling? Right now, we're on the heels of another close win, this one over SMU, who I think is a better team than they probably get credit for, especially after last year.
Well, in the net, they get a lot of credit, buddy.
It's true.
In the net, they get a lot of credit. And we're going to have to, we're going to have a real discussion about the net. I don't understand it, buddy.
Hey, I just want you to know, Gabe, last week I threw something at Trey for saying the word net. The only reason I didn't throw something at you is because I'm scared of you. All right? That's the only reason.
I'm bringing up net, but I think you'll probably agree with my sentiment on the net when we get to it.
All right, cool.
But they were 39th in net.
Yeah.
And they're, top 15? They're 15th in defense?
And adjusted defense.
That SMU team's solid, man. And I think that especially with the way FAU's trending, I wouldn't be shocked if SMU's 2 come tournament time, AAC tournament time.
No, I wouldn't either.
Because they have some good pieces offensively led by Zurich Phelps. And then you have defensively, if you're a top 15 team in defense, you're a pretty damn good defensive ball club. And that was it was 62-59, holding that Memphis offense down like that, making Naquan Tomlin foul out.
Forcing Memphis to have a second half comeback down by 12.
The rebounding was unreal.
29-5.
But 25-9.
25-9. Excuse me.
And then it was 12-2 on the offensive boards. That was literally. I mean, you don't have to look far as to why Memphis was trailing by 12 in that first half. It is literally 25-9, 12-2 on the offensive boards. Now, to their credit, they turned it around in a huge way. I think by the end of the game they had 35 rebounds and it was 16-6 on the offensive board. So they ended up getting it was 4-4 on the offensive boards in the second half, and they sort of figured it out as they went along. But I'll tell you a couple things that I'm noticing. A lot of hero ball. It's
true.
They are not assisting each other like they should. And I know they're talented, and I know that they try to use that talent, try to get ISO situations, but there's way too much of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason as to why in that Tulsa game they struggled so hard against that 2-3 zone, because they're not used to passing the ball around and finding open looks the way they should.
Right.
They're used to David Jones taking the ball and going and making something happen.
What was it, the 11th straight game that he led Memphis in scoring?
Something like that.
Pretty wild.
Something like that. And then the other thing I think is I look at these first 2 conference games and I do question I question how locked into the game plan they are against lesser opponents at this point.
Agreed.
Those 3 games against top 25 opponents, they were locked into the game plan, sharing the ball, doing everything they could to go get a win. But it feels like there's something amiss, like they're just not taking these teams as serious as they should.
Yeah, and I'm going to save some despair and fear of Memphis fans. This team is going to drop 1 or 2 games to a bad team. It's going to happen.
Feels inevitable at this moment.
Yeah,
yes.
it's going to happen at some point. We've talked about it. We talked about it a lot last week. They go on a road game against a bad AAC opponent. This team is very capable of dropping a game. You see how close they played against multiple bad teams this year. And I want to get your opinion on this because there's 2 schools of thought you can kind of come from on this. is the sloppy play and the close games and playing down to inferior opponents is one half of it. The other half of it is Memphis is playing relatively bad in some of these games, specifically like we just talked about the first half against SMU. But guess what? They're winning these games. So how do you balance looking at that? Like clearly winning all these close games against opponents that are lesser than you in most cases is a little bit concerning. But the fact that you can go out there against quality opponents like SMU, who we're sitting here saying is a solid team and could potentially be a tournament team, and you're playing bad, down by 12, only scored 24 points. I think that was right, 24 points in the first half.
36-24.
Yeah, and you come back and you win that game. It's positive in a sense. So how do you look at it? In that
second half, like you see what they're capable of to cut that deficit, to win by 3. Javon Quinterly, by the way, we haven't really discussed that as a whole. The guy is
got ice in his veins.
Yeah. Like, good God, 2 games in a row did that. And then also you were down Caleb Mills, you were down Naquan Tomlin. I'll say this. I think there's something amiss. I think that this team's playing with fire very clearly.
100%.
Very clearly. But I lean more glass half full because in the end of the day, 13-2, number 13 in the AP poll, 4 top 25 wins. They were unbelievable in their out of conference. I tend to, as long as they continue to win these games, just not push that panic button, pull the panic alarm. I don't do anything like that when they're continuing to win ball games. And I think it shows that they are a very resilient team. The fact that they are now 8-1 in games decided by 6 points or less. Like, they are resilient. They're getting, whether it's against inferior competition or good competition, they are getting to that point where you can start to call them a relatively battle-tested team.
Yeah. Yeah, but to me, like, Memphis is that team that you just want to grab by the shoulders and shake and say, what are you doing? You can put together these stretches against top 25 quality opponents where you look incredible and you win those games, and then you have moments like they have over the last several games, like the Vanderbilt game and the Tulsa game, where it's just like, why can we not do this from the beginning? Why does it have to be sloppy, and why does it have to be inconsistent? Why can't it be, okay, remember how we played against A&M and Clemson and Virginia, specifically Virginia, with the way they dominated that game? Why can't this be put together for an entire game? Because it really doesn't make sense. They know they're capable of it. They've seen it happen on the road, at home. It hasn't mattered really where it's at, so you can't really make an argument of that. It's the same team now, minus Caleb Mills, obviously, but
sad, by the way.
Very sad. Very sad for him. But what is it? Like, why can't they get it together and put it together in these bad games? Because now Memphis fans don't have a ton to be upset about. A top 15 team in the country, 13 wins, all the out-of-conference play that they had.
Give them an opportunity, they will.
But the thing is fans in general are going to find something to complain about, right? And the complaint now is, why can't this team blow anybody out? Why can't they have a dominant win? I mean, really, they haven't had many this year. Their biggest win this year was against Virginia, right? Points-wise.
23 points.
Right, was against Virginia. And so it's like, if you can do that against a quality top 25 opponent, why is Memphis not beating Tulsa by 15 to 25 points? It doesn't make sense.
Something amiss.
It doesn't make sense.
And the argument you'll hear from people that are on the glass, half empty side, they'll say, well, they're not blowing out these teams, so they're not going to get any favors when it comes to net and metrics and everything else. They need to start blowing teams out. So then I heard somebody make the case that if they blow these teams out, they can afford, like Houston did over all those years, they can afford to lose one game, and no one's going to push the panic alarm, and no one's going to freak out, and their metrics won't fall completely. They'll just say it was an off night. But if you string together a bunch of these games in a row where you're beating inferior competition by 2 or 3 points, and then you lose one, everybody's going to say, well, they've been playing like that for a while. Now they finally lost.
Yeah.
I think the beauty of it is that they got a team now with Javon Quinterly leading the way, who has seen it all, and he is very aware of the playing with fire type thing. He even
these last two games, he's played with fire in his own way.
Well,
man.
no, and
he came through in the end.
Yeah.
Right. But he has some rough stretches of basketball.
Like he was mistake free in those games.
First half of the SMU game, rough.
Yeah.
Second half of that Tulsa game, very rough.
Right.
Oh no, he talked about it. He was asked straight up last night after the game. He said, I think Terry Davis asked, like, why are you struggling getting going? Like, why aren't you asserting yourself more? And he said, honestly, I'm trying to figure that out myself. Like he was aware of it, and I love that he's aware that he's like, no, for this team to be successful, I need to be out there more. I need to be doing more. I need to be asserting myself more. And then he was asked by Tim Buckley. He said, basically, you guys are playing with fire, and he said, we absolutely are playing with fire, and if we don't fix this, we will get stuck soon.
See, that's the thing is like, even when you win, can you fight the complacency of, we still won that game?
Complacency is the word.
Right. Let's calm down. Even when you win by 3 in a game like that, you need to push on the gas harder.
Yeah.
Right? Can they do that? That's been my question. Even after the Tulsa game. Can you get back to the drawing board after a win, fight that complacency, and still make the changes you need to make?
And it's not just to even zoom in closer on this. This is not can they do it. We know they can do it. Can they do it against inferior opponents? Can they do it when the arena is 10% full? Can they do it when they're not on national TV? Like, we know that they can do it in those moments when the lights are bright, when they're playing a quality opponent, when it's a big game atmosphere. We've seen it. There's no denying it. There's not been a game like that really where they just haven't shown up, or they would have gotten blasted by those teams outside of maybe no. But that's a different environment. Can they do it on a Tuesday night in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or San Antonio, like that? And that's the question: can this team do it? I really don't have many doubts that when they get to the AAC tournament or the NCAA tournament, what they're going to look like and what they play like. It's the in between.
Yes,
and all of that. The only reason that matters, because I think they'll win plenty of games. This team is almost a tournament lock. It's seed line.
Yes.
Is the only reason that these games matter.
Stay in the 3, 4, 5 line.
Right. Stay there. Don't go anything under 6.
Right now they're 4.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you look at Lenardi's stuff,
right. Which they're in that range right now. So it's like, stay in this range. If you start dropping 3, 4 games that you shouldn't drop, then you're going to be back to stuck in that 8-9 game and playing a 1 seed. And they have no reason not to be a top 5 seed. There's zero excuses.
You've already put it out there.
Yes, you've put it out there, and you've beat the tough teams. Now it's trash.
The only thing that keeps you out of that 3, 4, 5 line at this point is what? 3 losses in conference. Just avoid 3.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, avoid 2 if you can. Avoid any if you can at all costs. I don't think 1 loss is going to absolutely hamper them.
I don't either. I think 3 is probably that number.
But this is something I've struggled with because I've talked about the people that are sort of glass half empty about metrics and not beating teams by a lot, and that doesn't help your metrics. And I agree with that. I completely agree with that. But at the same time, like I sort of question how much winning by a lot in these types of games is going to matter, because even if they lose, like any loss is going to dock them seemingly the same. Right. I guess it would just be like the mentality thing I was talking about earlier. Sure. If you have been playing bad and skating by and then you lose, it would look worse. But I don't know if the national people, the people that run these metrics, KenPom, Net, I don't think that's how it's looked at necessarily. Yeah. So I've sort of struggled with that back and forth.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Let's get into that. Let's get into the metric conversation, because Memphis is barely a top 50 team in both Net and KenPom. This is a team that is 13-2. They are the number 13 team in the country according to the AP Top 25. Can you make it make sense?
No. KenPom, I'm going to throw to the side for a second, because Ken Pomeroy, who does the whole thing, like, he has his reasons. He does adjusted offense, adjusted defense, ranks them that way, efficiency ratings, pace ratings. Right. He does all that. So I think, like, I'm not going to question his work.
There's a little more basis.
I'm not going to question his work. The Net makes no earthly sense because it's based on quads.
Right.
And Memphis is second in the country behind Purdue with the amount of quad 1 and quad 2 wins they have, yet they're at 48.
Yeah.
And SMU, who they played, was 39 going into that game. After they lost, they're still ahead of the Tigers with more losses, with less quality wins. If we're going to do the Net thing, right, and you're going to do the quadrant system, Let's go by the quadrants and what the wins, like how many wins do they have in quad 1? How many wins do they have in quad 2, quad 3, losses? What are their losses looking like? The fact that Memphis is behind SMU tells me that is the most arbitrary, uninformed, confusing metric in just about all the sports. It does not make sense in the slightest. And A&M is ahead of them. I think they're 38,
34,
and they're 9-5 now. They've lost a few games.
Yeah,
I understand the net matters, but it does not excuse the fact that it makes no sense. Like that's where
matters,
I'm at.
Gabe. It matters because the people that seed look at that. It matters because that is a part of the formula in which they seed teams for the NCAA tournament. It doesn't mean that it's not a weird, nerdy, arbitrary formula or algorithm.
100%.
It matters because the people that matter use it.
Yes.
That's the only reason why it matters. And that's why it's so frustrating to me is that it's like, literally, like you said, FAU. They have...
What are they, 26th in net now,
26th in net. 26. They have 2 quad 4 losses, 1 quad 3 loss, and they are still close to
26th.
20, is it 26?
5th or 6th? I think they dropped to 20. They
26.
dropped 1 spot for losing to Charlotte.
They're 20 spots ahead of the Tigers, who have the second most quad 1 and quad 2 wins in the entire country. It just does not make sense.
It doesn't. Like the net is just I always thought that if you had more quad 1, quad 2 wins and you had good records in those quadrants, you'd be ahead of teams that are not as good in those quadrants. That's not what it is.
That's the basic understanding of what it is.
That's
or what it's
not what it
is,
though. Yeah. And I just don't get it. And I think that's why there's some people that go to like Bart Torvik, right? Who does he does the Ken Pomeroy thing, if you will. Right. So it's like net is one of those metrics that we have to reference and like talk about where the Tigers stand, but them being 48th in the net does not match their resume. They have a top 10 resume. And they're top 15 in the AP poll, yet they're 48th in net. My brain does not compute that. And honestly, there's no way to compute it. No. You can't rationalize that.
So then what would you say to fans then? Because here's the thing. The net, I think, originally was used sparingly, like was sent out sparingly, like as if the college playoff rankings, right? They would do it once every, after a few weeks, they'd put out their first college football playoff rankings, all that kind of stuff. The fans have access to the net every single day. And so even 2 days ago, Tigers didn't play, and yet Texas A&M lost, Missouri lost, Virginia lost. Who else lost?
Everybody.
Clemson.
Clemson lost. LSU beat. Who did they beat? Texas A&M. Yeah. And it dropped the Tigers without them even playing. Dropped them almost double-digit spots in the net.
What?
So my question to you then is this: how should fans react and respond to the net?
Why does it matter?
I honestly, I'll say how should they respond? I think at this particular moment, with where we're at and how the net rankings are shaking out, in one ear out the other,
just
let it
go.
Let it go for now. Because if you just go by the metrics that the net uses, they're better than 99% of the country as far as their resume is concerned. I know that people are going to hang on every game and see how it affects the net, but I'm just not interested in that at this particular moment because I don't think it matches what the Tigers have actually accomplished.
I don't either. I wouldn't even hardly pay attention to it. I mean, now if you look down the road and Memphis is 26-2 and they're still hardly a top 50 team or even a top 40 team at that point.
But here's the thing about the net. Remember the COVID year?
Yeah.
Colgate was a top 5 net team all year. Who the hell did they play? Because they were only playing in-conference opponents. What are they in the freaking Patriot League? Something, a Pioneer League. Who the hell knows? I think Colgate probably in the Patriot League. If I'm probably wrong. Who knows? I don't keep up all that. But they were a top 5 net team all year. It didn't affect how people nationally were going to view them, how the committee was going to view them. I think there's some net rankings that just don't match up. And I think the committee, hopefully, by the time we get to March, if this trend continues, hopefully they can read through that BS.
Yeah, you're spot on. You're spot on. They're in the Patriot League. Yeah.
Nice. You're a genius. All right, last thing on Memphis basketball, and then we're going to take a quick break. It was announced on Monday that Memphis freshmen J.J. Taylor and Mikey Williams are both in the transfer portal. I'm going to go before you just for a second because you and I personally kind of been clamoring for this for a long time. Let's call it what it is. There is no need for this team in this scenario with what they did in the transfer portal, with what they have going on. There was no reason in the first place for them to come to campus. With the stuff that was surrounding Mikey Williams, with reports that we had heard about J.J. Taylor and what some of the things that he was doing and how he kind of seemed to be a little bit lazy himself.
I think,
and that there was no need. And I'm not saying that in a I hope J.J. Taylor and Mikey Williams never have success in their career.
Of course not.
So I don't want it to be painted like that. But this team in this scenario, there was no need for them to be here. They did not need to be here. They were never going to play heavy minutes this year. They were probably going to transfer after this year anyway because they weren't going to play heavy minutes. So it to me, and I said this from the beginning, as soon as we started seeing this transfer class put together, there's no need for Mikey Williams and J.J. Taylor to be here. I thought if Penny wasn't so loyal, he probably would have cut ties with both before they got on campus. I think. Because I think he's probably known the entire time that there was no sense in them being here after what they were able to get leading up to the offseason, or in the offseason leading up to the season.
All right, so I'm going to start at one place. I always thought that the Mikey Williams and J.J. Taylor, the figure of who they were coming in, always was more than the talent.
Agreed.
That's what I always thought.
Agreed.
Now, they could grow into fantastic basketball players, but if you follow the history of J.J. Taylor and you hear some of the murmurs within the locker room about how he's sort of complacent.
Maybe isn't the hardest worker behind closed doors.
Yeah, like that type of thing. You've seen that. Like, that showed through his recruitment process.
Yeah.
What, his sophomore year when they finally published 247 rankings, he was number one.
Yeah.
He fell into the top 150. He was like 100-something.
Yeah.
So you've been sort of seeing the regression there. Mikey Williams, with all the case itself, like that was just something I never really wanted to see the University of Memphis deal with. No. I think, though, Penny handled this really well.
I do too.
I think Penny showed I'm going to stand by these guys until I can't anymore. They were a package deal.
Yeah.
But I think it's also very revealing of Mikey Williams and J.J. Taylor's character to a certain extent. Mikey Williams was stood behind this entire time by the university and by Penny Hardaway.
Yeah.
There are very few universities in this country that would have stood behind Mikey Williams
for sure.
with 9 felony charges for assault with a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
They're very few. And how does he repay the university and Penny Hardaway?
Mount.
He gets the hell out.
Yeah.
He gets in the transfer portal. So I think that's very telling. And then finally, I'm just going to blatantly say it. I think this is a good thing.
I do too.
It's an overwhelmingly good thing.
I do too. I think you limit distractions.
You limit distractions. You rid yourself of this nasty cloud of like, oh, well, Penny vets and lets criminals play on his team.
Right.
No matter how stupid that is, that's a national media narrative. You get rid of the old way you tried to recruit that never really worked. You don't have to worry about even the thought of pity minutes with Mikey Williams anymore. I just think, and now you have two open scholarships going into this next recruiting cycle. I think this is some people can view it differently. I think this is an overwhelmingly good thing.
I do too. 100%, because
and I wouldn't normally say this. In the past, it would have been ridiculous to say a couple of top 150 recruits leaving is a good thing. But I think in this situation, with the hand that's been dealt, with the way that Memphis recruits, with what Penny has done with this program and the direction this program is headed, I think it's a good thing they're off campus.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And going back to what you were saying about Penny, like Penny comes out of this thing looking beautiful because he kept his commitment to 2 players that he recruited and that committed to the university, even when there was a lot of questions of should he stick by Mikey Williams or should he move away from this. So he really made sure there would be no negative recruiting lines against him for cutting bait on 2 guys, because we just had a feeling the whole time he's going to cut ties with Mikey, he's going to cut ties with JJ as well. And so he stuck by those guys. He made it through all of that entire storm and came out on the other side. And then they leave. So I think for Penny, it's great. because you can't use any negative recruiting against him and how he is loyal and stuff like that. And then also for the university, you remove those distractions. For the locker room, you remove those distractions. You remove people bringing them up because there was never any need to bring them up. I know people love headlines. I know people love things that grab attention. But Mikey Williams was never going to make a difference this year. And I know because people get caught.
And there was always going to be a question about even if he stayed, if he's going to make a difference.
Exactly.
He had to develop as a basketball player. No one's going to deny that. He was he's
Mikey Williams was a big addition for this year, they probably would have said, yeah, Mikey Williams.
Yeah.
He's going to be a starting point guard this year and probably be the AAC Newcomer of the Year. And
absolutely.
That's the perception, but perception is not reality in this circumstance at all because he was never going to make a difference on this team. He was not ready. JJ Taylor has all the talent in the world. There's a reason that he was the #1 overall player when he was a sophomore in high school. But he was never going to contribute on this team because, as you mentioned, there was the regression throughout his career, and questions have been brought up about what he's like in the locker room. We can only speculate on that. We don't know. We're not there. But these guys being gone,
we can only really tell you what we've heard,
right? Right.
Like in the end of the day.
And these guys being gone, as you're saying, is overwhelmingly positive. It's good for the team. It's good for the university.
Clearer picture.
Yes, 100%.
All that.
100%.
It was crazy to me, even after the season started, when Jalen Young played the backup point guard minutes and you see him come out on the defensive side of the ball and the intensity and effort in which he gives on the defensive side of the ball, the way he's able to control the offense. Even you saw it last night even. He didn't have to have many stats, didn't have to do a whole lot, but when he got out there, the energy changed, everything changed. There were people after those first couple of games in the season that said when Mikey gets here, he's taking Jalen Young's spot.
No.
And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Are you crazy?
Well, in the end of the day, just being real with yourself with Mikey's profile and who he was coming in, quite frankly, based on the mistakes he has made, you probably can surmise he probably thinks his shit doesn't stink.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So even if that didn't go, do you really think he would humble himself enough to be a defensive ace and do all the dirty work and go block people at the rim like Jalen Young?
No.
That was never a reality.
No, you are absolutely right. Well, Gabe, talking about JJ Taylor, we're talking about Mikey Williams and them leaving the program. You know what would be terrible for us?
Oh, if Kenny Stubblefield
left the program.
But he's not.
We'd be in shambles. It would not be an overwhelming positive. It would be 100% across the board negative. So we're thankful for Kenny. He was giving us some compliments at the beginning of the episode, so we got to return the favor for him. The show would not be the same without one Kenny Stubblefield. He does a pretty decent job every week of hooking up our Hot 3. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back on the other side with the Hot 3.
People want to project their beliefs and their perceptions and mold somebody to look like they want them to look and act like they want them to act, man. Thing about it, if somebody gonna dislike you, they gonna dislike you regardless of what you do, dog. You can sit here and be the nicest dude, singing carols and everything. They still gonna talk about you. So with Ja, I think it's his swagger. I think it's his attitude. I think it's his confidence. It's almost like they trying to break him. They like, man, he's too hip hop. What's too hip hop? Right. That's what they saying without saying it. Right. Like same thing they used to say about AI. Because it's the influence and the power he has. You gotta look at Ja, man. He's the most entertaining NBA player in the NBA. Yeah. I ain't saying he's the best. He's the most entertaining. Yep. So when you have that power and that influence, you want to try to control it. If you can't control it, now you're going to try to tear him down and try to break him a little bit. Yeah. So it seems like, that's why they keep saying, have you changed anybody in your circle? And his team was like, no, because they trying to get in. Right. They trying to get in. We want to be in your circle. We want to get in so we can mold you to how we want you to act and how we want you to move.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Look, I get both sides. You win every game by 1, you're a national champion.
100%.
In order to make that path to a national championship a little bit more in your favor, it helps metrically to beat the dog piss out of the teams you're supposed to beat the dog piss out of.
What is it?
Does it?
Because all we're doing is falling down the net.
This dude's big ass truck certified. Kenny told Trey if he used the word net, he was going to throw something at him. And he
And he
did.
threw the softest microphone cover in the world at me.
You
I
got
didn't
what
know
you
what
got.
it looked like a brick. I thought I was about to be Home Alone 2, New York City.
Suck brick, kid.
I'm kidding. I will say the last 2 games have been disappointing, to say the least.
You think
10-0
Penny
run.
gives 1-0?
That's my problem.
F's about
you
the-
have to.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
You don't have to.
You don't have
You
to.
don't have to.
You do.
That is
It-
for the nerds out there,
It's
and
not.
that
They use that shit for seeding.
It is January 2nd. It is too damn early to be worrying about those metrics to me.
yes.
It's not.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Discover a world of possibilities at Streetcars of Memphis. Revamp your ride with the ultimate auto transformation. From booming audio systems to eye-catching wheels, powerful lift kits to sleek drop kits, cutting-edge LED lights and light bars, we've got it all. Unleash your style with confidence. Feel the next level of auto care at Streetcars of Memphis. Your dream ride is just a visit away. Visit us online at www.901scm.com and let the transformation begin.
Oh, we're back.
We are back.
I almost didn't come back.
You almost didn't. You almost entered the portal.
I almost entered the portal on you guys.
I'm glad you did.
Like somebody else is going to pick me up and appreciate me for what I do.
Glad we slung you a bag to keep you here.
I'm here. Gabe's like, I don't give a crap.
Not at all.
You got a bag? Where's my bag?
I know,
that's
right?
That's all I'm hearing right now.
Oh man, boys, I am sitting here in this room and I got the window open behind me and it is raining like
is-
you would never believe,
It
man.
is freezing in here.
It is.
Yeah, it's
Almost put on my coat.
I wouldn't have blamed you.
All right, let's get going. This is the Hot 3 sponsored by Streetcars of Memphis. Streetcars of Memphis is a locally owned Memphis auto body shop, man. Listen, the weather changes so much around here. It was warm the other day. It's cold now. Then it's rainy. About to get some snow. Whatever. Our cars need to keep up with the weather out here, right? Like we got to do different things to our cars to get them ready for each season that we're in. Well, Streetcars of Memphis can do that for you, man. They can do anything and everything, the daily maintenance type stuff. Plus, man, they can jack your ride up. They can really, really mess your not mess your
Don't
car
mess
up.
it up.
They don't mess your car up. They can really swagger pimp your car.
Pimp that ride.
That's right.
I wish they could teach driving classes in the city of Memphis, especially for rain. My gosh.
They
It's
might,
so
but
bad.
this is how good they are. They might look into that.
They
just
might.
for you.
They
They
might,
might.
just
Jeez.
for you, Christian, they might start
It's
looking at
so
some
bad.
driving classes.
So bad.
Hey, listen, check out Streetcars of Memphis 901scom.com. If you want to go and do anything there, you can go on their website, get any kind of service, anything like that. But one thing they're doing right now in the month of January for On the Bluff listeners only is they are giving us a $55 oil change or a $65 synthetic oil change, which is basically the price of the oil. It's basically at price, at cost.
That's a good deal.
That's a very good deal. You can use the code phrase on the bluff, all capital letters, on the bluff, by going to 901scom or 323-3332 and check out their all the service they offer and get your oil change at cost. Good stuff, guys. Thanks for sponsoring the Hot 3.
Now, what do we got?
You guys ready?
Yes, of course.
Segment number one, or topic number one. Let's go Grizzlies for the weekend. Let's go into that first. Man, Ja's back. Ja got sick. Played played a couple of games. They won 4 in a row, then they lost 3 in a row. Came out. I don't remember much about this weekend because I was at a volleyball tournament, but they won last night against the Suns. Came
121,
back.
115.
It's a great game.
127, 113 against the Lakers.
Yep.
What are y'all's thoughts? What have y'all seen in these last 2 games, especially against the Lakers and the Suns? Like you see something, a trend turning. You see something happening, or do you see what are y'all seeing?
I can't get my hopes up yet because just like you mentioned, they'll win 4, they'll lose. They've been very inconsistent since Ja came back. Is it better?
They're 7-4 with Ja.
They are. It's much better. Much better.
Yeah, it's not even close.
We're in different territory right now.
Yes.
But now it's about being consistent because we talked about salvaging the season a couple weeks ago and what that looks like. Does that look like getting back to 500? Does it look like just being competitive? Does it look like getting in the play-in? Like we don't know where this barometer necessarily is for success right now, but they do have to be consistent, and they've been much more consistent. But this has kind of been the trend, in my opinion. You get games against the Lakers and the Suns, big-time games. You win both of those games. But they've shown over the last 11 that they can drop some games that maybe they shouldn't have as well. So now it's just about being consistent. We've talked about a lot with the Tigers. Same thing for the Grizzlies, just being consistent in these games. But I'm going to continue to say, is it much better? Is the bar set much higher now that Ja Morant is in uniform? Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. This is not the team that it was a month ago. They're in a much better place. But now it's just about stringing this stuff together and continuing to pile up wins.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're still 13-23.
Right.
You know, in the end of the day, I'm not going to get my hopes up for postseason or playoff aspirations.
Not at all.
Although they're 4.5 behind the 10 spot,
Right.
and they've just beat 2 teams ahead of them, and the Lakers and the Suns at their place. You got to give respect where respect is due.
Sure.
As far as trends are concerned, Kenny, I think we're seeing some similar trends that we've seen all year with the top guys. Jaren Jackson Jr. is unreal right now. Like he's playing.
Yeah.
I thought his game against the Suns might have been his best game
Oh my
in a
gosh.
Grizzlies uniform.
Just dominant.
28-10, had a double-double, 6 assists.
Yeah.
And he still was great on the defensive end, had a couple blocks to add to that. He has shown up every single game. Has he even missed a game all year?
No.
He's played every single game. He's shown up and he showed out. Desmond Bane against the Lakers, 24 points, 13 dimes.
Yeah.
13. Because that's one thing that actually gives me a lot of hope going into the future is we've always talked about with Ja Morant, when he's not on the floor or when somebody else, when another team takes him away, he's your one creator.
Yep.
Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane are showing they can create in their own right.
For sure.
Right? So, that's huge for a half-court offense developing into the future. That's huge for this year, what it's going to look like, just generating offense. But against the Lakers, they hit a shitload of threes.
Yeah. Yeah.
They set the franchise record for threes made on the road.
Yeah.
And then against the Suns, I genuinely just look at Vince Williams Jr. as the difference maker. Good God, that kid has it. I'm sorry. You can say what you want about, maybe you're overblowing who Vince Williams Jr. is. Here's where I'm going to go with this. Offensively, people, you can say, I want to see him hit more shots. I want to see him get more involved in the offensive end and for him to be more consistent on that end of the floor. One thing that you're never going to be able to take away from him, and I mean never, is the activity and everything he does on the defensive end of the ball and in rebounding. Yes. It's effort and it is intensity, and he plays like a psychopath.
Right.
He has black Air Force One energy out there on the floor. That's what he does. There was one sequence in the end of that Suns game that just it encapsulates who he is as a player. There's about 2 minutes to go. He goes down. He has a leading the break, getting in transition. He tries to take a layup at the rim, misses.
Yeah.
With his right hand, he's a lefty, misses. But what does he do? He gets the rebound, kicks it out to Jaren in the corner. They try a 3-ball. He misses. Vince Williams Jr. taps it right back out to Jaren Jackson Jr., swing it up to the top of the key to Desmond Bane, and with 1:48 on the clock, he hits a 3 to go up 115. 114, flips the game because he gave an extra effort even after missing a layup.
Right.
And the reason I call him a psycho is he clearly doesn't get excited by the things that other basketball players get excited about. finishing at the rim, knocking down a 3-ball, a cool assist, those highlight plays.
No,
he gets hyped
stuff.
up about getting rebounds,
Right.
getting tap outs, getting steals, getting blocks,
Yeah.
and playing off screens, making other teams get offensive fouls on him because he's playing. He gets excited about those things.
Yeah.
And that's what you need, a guy like that on any
This is
good
my
team.
favorite kind of players.
And I mean, we saw the 19 points he put up against the Suns. I don't think he's completely offensively deficient. Like, he has some skills that you can utilize.
He can
and
shoot
work,
the ball. That's what he came in as.
And work toward. Like, you can make him a very solid offensive piece if you continue
Right.
to give him minutes and continue to work with him, because he's got the ability.
Yeah.
So that's I think that guy's exciting to me, and I
He
know
is.
people get annoyed with me. They're like, "You're just putting out that Vince Williams Jr. propaganda." Well, get used to it.
It's coming, baby.
It ain't ended anytime soon.
It's like the same thing that happened with Anthony Milton.
Yeah,
It's very similar.
Yeah.
And similar play styles, not necessarily the most consistent
like,
offensive
and
player.
I swear we're talking about a defensive player of the year in Marcus Smart, and I watch when Vince Williams Jr. is out there.
Oh, man.
And I sometimes I'm like, he's the best perimeter defender they have on this team,
Yeah.
and it's a team with Marcus Smart.
Right. No, 100%.
It's ridiculous. Like,
100%.
Okay, I want to see the sample size get larger. I want to see all those things. I want to see his contract get converted before the 50 games are up, because he has 50 games to
Right.
play before he'd be sort of out there on the open market. So convert that damn thing. But man, like, I just can't say enough good things about this guy. He's got this team headed in the right direction.
Yep. Love it. Kenny, topic number 2.
We're not going to topic number 2. We got a couple more things to talk about the Grizzlies. Before you got here, Christian, before you got here to the studio, Gabe and I were talking.
Okay.
And Gabe is very clearly in team fire Taylor Jenkins.
No, shut the hell up. That is literally the opposite. I know what you're doing, though.
My bad. So you want to fire him, but not right now?
No. You see, you're being ridiculous. What I said is, I think people are way too caught up in Taylor Jenkins' game-to-game coaching and not caught up on the fact
The front office.
that the front office has used a lot of draft picks that have not come
panned
through.
out. Yeah.
And this
Did you
was
and
a
Christian
team,
talk about this before you got
was
here?
a team,
No, we just know what we're talking
This
about.
was a team that largely the last 2 years, when they were second in the West and winning 50 games, what were their good things? What could you point out, right? Offensive rebounding, top of the league.
Yep.
Rebounding, top of the league. Fast break points, top of the league. Paint points, top of the league. Screen assists with Steven Adams, top of the league. Second chance points, top of the league. We have Taylor Jenkins running out there with a team with no Steven Adams, no Brandon Clark, and you're asking him to coach this team to 50 wins.
And no John Morant for the first 25 games.
With no John Morant for the first 25 games. And you're asking him to try to do the same things and replicate it with nothing there with the pieces that made all that happen gone off the floor.
To run his scheme. The things that he needs to run his scheme,
he does
not
well,
have.
he doesn't have now.
And that can't be fully just placed on him.
And then, listen, there's some times where I get annoyed with his rotations and starting line. Like, I didn't get the Xavier Tillman starting him after 3 games of Bismack Biyombo. Bismack Biyombo has a good game, then you just put Xavier Tillman in there after DNPs. I think that was very weird.
Yeah.
So I get
Not
where
playing
people,
Vince after 3 games of balling out.
I get where people get frustrated by those type of things, but in the end of the day, Taylor Jenkins has 2 guys on his roster, Luke Kennard and Desmond Bane, who shoot over 35% from 3. There's no other team in the league that are in his rotation. There's no other team in the league with less than 4 guys that shoot over 35% from 3 in their rotation. You're asking him to run a modern day offense, fix the half court offense without the pieces to do it.
Right.
And it's just like, in the end of the day, I think it's more on Zach Kleiman in the front office and roster construction than anything we could talk about with Taylor Jenkins. And of course, I think when you have struggles, people look for somebody to fall on the sword.
Yeah.
And usually it's the NBA head coach, especially in the NBA. We've seen guys, right? But I don't think that is the truth of what's happening right now, or what has happened previously. Why this start is so ugly.
I agree. If I tried to respond to that, I'd probably just say the same thing that you just said in a different way, because I completely agree with it.
I just get this is nitpicking of Taylor Jenkins when it's just like, You want him to maximize this roster.
He's handcuffed a little bit.
You want him to maximize this roster, but what's there to maximize? Yeah. Because last time I checked, just about every game that Ja, Jaren, and Dez have been in the lineup together, they've all gotten 20 points.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart, okay, you can talk about that. He's been in and out of the lineup. He's never been great as a scorer all the time. Like, he's inefficient. I don't know. I just think that when you say, I don't think Taylor Jenkins has maximized this team this year. Okay, we can have that conversation, but what's there to maximize?
What's he maximizing? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We got one more NBA topic
and
to discuss.
And by the way, real quick.
Yes.
Ja Morant, sling. What are we thinking?
That's probably where Kenny was going.
There was some rumors. There was some discussion about him just because they said, he went through his workout and he was sore. His shoulder was sore. My experience with sore shoulders is they usually aren't in a sling.
Yeah, no, I've
usually you just sort of you just
let
it hang.
Yeah, no, I've had
get a massage.
Sore shoulders from working out before. Never once have
he did too many shrugs.
Yeah. Never once have I put on a sling. So we shall see.
I'm curious about it. I gotta say,
I am too.
All right, last NBA topic, and then we'll move on because I know you guys are pretty short-winded when it comes to NFL stuff, so I'm going to keep it. That's why we're hanging in NBA for a little bit. You guys might not even know about this because y'all are both just incredibly busy during the day. But this afternoon it came out. Podcast dropped. The Draymond Green podcast dropped.
Oh, God, we're doing this.
Yes, we are doing this.
Oh, kidding.
Christian, are you aware?
Yeah, I saw.
Oh, okay, cool.
He's coming back. He's got a week to ramp up.
He's coming back. He's ramping
yeah.
up. He got reinstated, missed 12 games. He comes out today in his podcast, and I'm going to read the quote for you. All right, he says,
"I'm already rolling my eyes."
I know you are. He goes. He's in a meeting with Adam Silver, and he says, "I told him, Adam, this is my Draymond Green voice. Adam, this is all too much for me. This is too much. It's all becoming too much for me, and I'm going to retire." And apparently, Adam Silver said, "You're making a very rash decision, and I won't let you do that." Now, this is the same dude who literally choked out Rudy Gobert and then punched Yusuf Nurkic in the face in a game.
Also punched his own teammate.
And he's
also punched
how
his
many
own
sets
teammate.
Of balls has he kicked?
He's kicked numerous balls over the years.
Numerous.
I mean, we're talking about
many
a dude.
Balls.
We're talking about a dude who is constantly at the top of the list in technical fouls every single year.
Yep.
And he's now saying, "This is just too much for me." And Adam Silver told me not to retire, so I'm coming back. What are your guys' thoughts on all that?
It's just weird.
Just
weird.
don't even do
weird.
it. Just don't even. It's not even weird.
Just move it on.
Draymond, shut up.
It's fair.
Be quiet. You know. This is about as real as LeBron's retirement last year. Okay, you were never going to retire, and also for you to be. I saw something by Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to mention here in a second, but it's like you're saying you're going to retire because of your self-inflicted wounds, because of what you did.
Because it's too much for me.
It reminds me of the Aaron Rodgers story that came out today. How I feel very similar about that. He said, if we're going to be the best team we can going into next year, we need to rid ourselves of the BS in the facility. It's like, Aaron, are you really saying that out loud right now? You literally are 100% of the distractions in that facility right now.
Yeah.
You just said Jimmy Kimmel was a pedophile.
Yeah, it's true.
But in the end of the day, stop with that's just drama for the sake of trying to create drama.
Yeah.
And try to be Draymond playing a victim card. Kind of. That's sort of
wild.
what he
Weird.
was trying to do.
That is wild. It's 100% what he was
Don't
doing.
do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You're not a victim. You never
No.
have been.
No.
In fact, you've been enabled this long to act this way. This has happened before, and Adam finally decided to come, pass a harsh punishment down.
Yeah.
And it was well deserved.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say on that.
All right, Kenny, let's roll.
Topic number 2. Let's go to the NFL. Man, all right, so we're at the point in the season where NFL teams are either thinking about the future, their offseason, or they're thinking about playoffs. So let's go to playoffs first.
Okay.
Talk to me about what these teams are doing, the playoff teams that are in, what you're looking forward to over the next few weeks. I mean, it's starting. Christian, you're there. You're going to be there for the wild card.
I will.
Talk to me about the playoffs, the playoff teams.
How do you want to go about this, Gabe? I don't want to go through every game or anything like that.
Let's give shout outs where shout outs are due. I think first
The Texans are at the top of the list.
shout out list 10-7.
Won the South.
First playoff appearance since 2019.
Yep.
Won the South. C.J. Stroud was
CJ
phenomenal.
Stroud is that dude, man.
And what
D'Amico Ryan.
Yes, for sure. No, but what jumps off the page with the C.J. Stroud thing and watching that game Saturday against the Colts, like notes I'm writing down for my show. He gets in there in a tie game on the road, playoffs on the line against the division rival, and proceeds to go 7 for 7 for 80 yards and gets the game-winning touchdown in there.
Yeah.
I am not
As a rookie.
As a rookie.
As a rookie.
I'm not going to be going against anybody in the near future when he gets put in these top 10 quarterback lists. And if someone has the gall or whatever, if you think they have gall to put him in a top 5 list, I don't know if I'm really ready to argue with anybody. This guy's talent is shown through, and he took a team that we thought was going to win, 3 games?
Yeah.
And has them in the playoffs with 10 wins.
Yeah. And winning their division. It's pretty crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah, so big shout out to him. Big shout out to the Bills as well. This is a team that was on the outside looking in just 5 weeks ago, 7-6. They won their last
5.
last 5. Was it their last 5 or last 4? Last 4. Yeah, 7-6, and they finished 11-6.
Yeah, you're right.
Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. I think that's right.
This is last 4.
A lot of people were, okay, the Bills have peaked. They have no chance. There's no way that they're going to get back in it now. Even if they do, they're not a threat. Well, they went from on the outside looking in to the 2 seed.
Playing the Steelers.
Playing the Steelers with Mason Rudolph at quarterback. And honestly, like, why
not? I'm there with you.
Why not? Because the Ravens are the best team, but Lamar Jackson has not shown ability to win in the playoffs. So
here's the real
mark there.
conversation.
What you got?
Of teams that are going to win the AFC outside of the Ravens. Chiefs or Bills?
Bills.
Bills 100 times out of 100 for me.
Maybe not 100 times out of 100 because the Chiefs.
Okay,
still
I
have
overstated that. About 75 times out of 100. I overstated that, but yes.
The Chiefs have a top 5 defense, and they have the best quarterback in the entire world and the history of the entire world. So there's always
with no
a chance.
wide receivers and an aging Travis Kelce.
I would 100% go Bills over them. Bills can play good defense. The Bills have Josh Allen. The Bills can run the ball.
The issue is, though, they're a different team every week.
They are. That's the thing. They're Jekyll and Hyde.
Even against the Dolphins, I'm like, there's nothing about this performance.
No,
I'm like,
Josh Allen threw 2 picks.
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he did.
Yeah, he was down here and up here in the same game.
Yes.
Like he is pretty much every week.
Yeah. There's some games where he's just up
there. And there's been some games where he's just down here. But most of the time with Josh Allen, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
It's Brett Favre.
But yeah, I'm taking the Bills over them right now.
Yeah, I would too.
But even in that, was it the Chargers game that they won barely?
Yeah.
Against that nasty Chargers team
22-20.
The week before that got blown out by the Raiders.
That was with Easton Stick at quarterback also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bills make no sense to me, but I still would take them over the Chiefs because I just don't think the Chiefs are very good.
Yeah, before we go any further, something that just popped into my head. Going into the season, we all talked about the AFC and how it's going to be hard not to see a champion coming from the AFC. The AFC clearly going into the year was the superior conference to the NFC. Now I'm looking around, and it's kind of flipped
on its head
because the AFC doesn't look great. I get Joe Burrow got hurt, Justin Herbert got hurt. The Chiefs haven't been the
injuries.
Chiefs. The Bills haven't been the Bills. The Ravens have been the best team, but still, like the NFC has stood out a lot. Like the NFC has been really good.
But we could also make the argument the best.
The best team in the league.
The best team in the league is
the Ravens. Yeah, I agree.
Mike McDonald's done a great job with that defense. Todd Monken, great on offense. Yep. Lamar's the MVP. Yep. He's got more to throw to, even though I think we overdid how much he had to throw to. We've already talked about that. But the Ravens, I mean, going into the playoffs with a massive win, double-digit win over the 49ers, 56-19 over the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And I also saw something about the Dolphins. When they play teams that are 500 or above, they're 1-5 this year with the 3rd worst point differential against teams that are 500 and above.
I saw it too. It's crazy. It's insane.
I don't buy into them either.
No, I don't either. Matthew Stafford returning home to Detroit.
We have a lot of stuff like that, don't we?
There is, yeah.
I know that the Texans and Browns, like Deshaun Watson's hurt, but there is a history there.
Right.
We have that. We have Mike McCarthy versus former team in the Packers.
Yep.
We have Tyreek Hill visiting the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of stuff like that. But
Yep.
Matt Stafford, that's going to be very. I wonder how Detroit fans handle that. I know they're going to like give him his love, but also this is a massive playoff game for them.
I think the Rams are going to win that game.
I see.
Are y'all surprised by the Rams this year?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
for sure. They're supposed to be terrible.
100%.
I don't fully believe that because I think the Lions are kind of like the Bills. The Lions are really good some weeks and they're really bad some weeks. And I think I don't know. I just kind of lean quarterback on that one. And not that Goff hasn't been really good the last 2 years, but Stafford has been balling over the last 7 weeks. You got Cooper Kupp, you got Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams has been.
Puka, bro. What? How?
I don't know. Doesn't
Broke
make
the
any
rookie
sense.
receiving record.
Yeah, receptions and yards.
Yeah.
broke both of them.
That's nuts.
So yeah, that's a fun matchup. You mentioned Cowboys Packers. Packers and Cowboys obviously have a lot of history, not only in the playoffs but just over the span of their lifetimes in the NFL. Mike McCarthy being the last coach to win a Super Bowl in Titletown. They're coming to Dallas. Like that's a fun storyline in and of itself. First year quarterback, first playoff game against Dak, who's
got to prove it.
Who's got to prove it in this scenario.
He had a hell of a year though.
He did. What else is in the NFC? What's the last game in the NFC? Oh, Bucks Eagles, which is a weird game in and of itself.
Well, but the Eagles have lost to teams way worse. They lost to the Giants.
It's true. They lost to the Giants. They've lost their last 5 games.
Yeah.
5 of their last 6 games.
5 of their
something
last
like
6.
What an epic meltdown for the Eagles if they lose this game for the year.
Because they're
Nobody's
11-6. They lost 5 of their last 6.
Yeah, they were 10-1. They were 10-1. Yeah, and they have absolutely just
They beat the Giants,
tanked.
then lost to the Giants.
Right, and Devontae Smith is hurt. A.J. Brown got injured on Sunday. Jalen Hurts got injured on Sunday. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised if Philadelphia goes to Tampa and loses to Tampa.
No, not at all. And what's funny to me is like you'll ask people like, what has gone wrong with that team? And they'll either give you one side of the ball or the other. Most people say defense. Their defense and their secondary stinks. Their offense hadn't been good either.
Not at all.
Like let's not fake like Jalen Hurts is having a recreation of last year. You gave him the big contract and he's not who he was.
No.
And there's other things that could be a part of that. I think personally, if I'm just reading through everything, I think we discounted the fact that they lost both coordinators.
Oh,
Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon meant a lot.
And what the
continuity means a lot in football locker rooms.
And respectively, what those guys are doing. I know Jonathan Gannon in Arizona.
Shane Steichen, though, how good do you have to be to have a winning record with Gardner Minshew?
Not only with Gardner Minshew, with a terrible team, top to bottom, really. And it's not a great team.
It's not the best roster, but it's manageable.
I think 5.5 was their preseason win total.
It's a manageable roster. They have some talent.
It's not horrible, but it's not good defensively. Right. Like name 3 players on their defense is not good. They don't have many pieces on that defense. Offensively, not much there either as far as skill positions go outside of Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor. So it's not a great team anyway.
Right. But
and then you throw in a backup quarterback.
He maximized everything. This is the
100%.
best he could have done.
And Jonathan Gannon was kind of one arm tied behind the back for the majority of the season with the quarterback situation. But the Cardinals were pretty competitive down the stretch.
Yeah.
They played
once Kyler got back.
Yeah, once Kyler came back, they played pretty competitive football. And talking about the Colts roster, the Cardinals roster, way worse than the Colts.
Yeah.
Top to bottom.
I just think coordinator change really actually, as you saw the season go along, because they were playing with fire even when they were 10-1.
Yes.
And then you saw those games flip to losses.
If I'm not wrong, 2 first-year coordinators for them as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's a difficult transition, and then we kind of see them get stuck in the mud. The running game hasn't looked good. Jalen Hurts, I still think he's bothered by the knee injury. I don't think he's ever been fully right since week 5 or 6, whatever it was when he injured his knee. So yeah, interesting playoff matches. Before we move on, give it to me. Super Bowl, who you got?
Oh gosh, you know what?
You going chalk?
Let me go ahead. Let me see something real quick. I have to go through here.
It's hard not to go
I have
chalk.
to go through.
Not gonna lie.
Let me go through here. I had some. Let's see. I had my AFC and NFC finishes. Let's see what I had. Okay, I'm gonna stick to it. I had Bills Cowboys. Let me go Bills over Cowboys 28-17.
Okay. I'm gonna go Niners Bills.
Okay. So we're both going Bills.
Yeah, I like the Bills. I think if they get hot.
But the only thing is, it's like, yeah, if they get hot, but the problem is you've seen a game where you're like, oh, they're going to get hot. And then the next game they come out and they win 22-20 against the terrible Chargers
after they beat the Cowboys 31-10.
Chargers. Yeah, I have doubts about them stringing together great games in a row, but hey, no better time than the present to make that happen.
To me, they have the highest ceiling is my thing.
Yeah.
All right, Kenny, last topic, and we're going to get out of here. We've gone pretty long, so let's
No, we're
run through
good,
this.
though. Obviously, you talked about the playoffs, but there are a bunch of teams that have a lot of fans here in the city of Memphis that want to know what your guys' thoughts are as they kind of go into the offseason. What are some of the big off-season moves, coaches shakeups, front office anything that you see? What are some things that these fans should be paying attention to?
We've had Ron Rivera fired. Rightfully so.
Yes.
They were a mess.
And truth about Ron Rivera is, except for a couple of years with Cam Newton at MVP level, he's
not
a
been
very average coach.
very average.
If not below average.
Who else got canned? Who am I missing?
Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith, well deserved to be canned. 21-30 over 3 years. So much
7
offense.
wins a year.
Yeah.
He was consistent. Yeah.
But with the amount of offensive talent he's had, it's absurd. The fact that Bijan Robinson didn't run for 1,000 yards this year
He found
is crazy.
him. He found him in the last week of the season
Yeah,
when they
he
lost
finally-
48-17.
scored.
And then he had the nerve to be mad at Dennis Allen when Jameis Winston changed the play call on the 1 yard line.
Right, and gave it to Jamal Williams.
And I've seen people go off on Jameis Winston
That he
too.
should be cut immediately.
Yeah, that was Shannon Sharp. Shut up.
Shannon, what is Shannon Sharp talking about?
I don't
He's
know.
he
Said he basically was trying to say that it's a chicken shit move.
Yeah.
And no, you don't cut a guy because he
no.
changed a play call because he
Not at
wanted
all.
to get a touchdown for his boys.
No, I think the biggest storyline of the offseason, though, and we can end it here, and you can give me your thoughts on this as well. Without a doubt, as soon as the games ended on Sunday, the Bears were on the clock. Not only were they on the clock for the number 1 overall pick, they're also on the clock for what will they do
This
with
is the
Justin
one.
Fields. What do they do? How do they handle this situation? To me, if I'm Chicago, it's a tough one. I think with how much struggles Chicago has had at the quarterback position, it's hard not to just get out of this and try again. I still have some faith in
Money
Justin
savings.
Fields. To me, this is my perfect world scenario for Justin Fields and the Bears. They trade Justin Fields to Atlanta. Atlanta gets somebody as their head coach that can be creative offensively and is not just someone that came from the Tennessee Titans who have the most boring offense in the league.
Yes.
If they can get someone in with creativity, I think with Justin
Ben
Fields,
Johnson,
with Bijan
something like
Robinson, with Bijan Robinson, Justin Fields, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier, Drake London, with some of the weapons they have, Atlanta has fun pieces. And you throw a dynamic quarterback in there that can use
And
his
their
legs,
O-line's
that can
not
use
that
his
bad,
arms.
by the
They
way,
have
just so we're clear.
Yeah, solid offensive line.
Chris Lindstrom might be one of the best guards in the league.
Yeah, for sure. So to me, best case scenario for Justin Fields is he ends up in Atlanta with a creative offensive coordinator.
Yes.
And then for Chicago, you take a pick of the two. It's as crazy as it is now to look at it, because 8 months ago it was locked in. Caleb Williams was the number 1 overall pick. A lot of people are split on this decision, whether it's Drake May or Caleb Williams. And I can assure you, whichever one the Bears pick is going to be the wrong one. I can almost guarantee you that. Whichever one, if the Bears take Drake May, he probably won't be very good, and Caleb Williams will be an all-pro. If they take Caleb Williams, he probably won't be very good, and Drake May will probably be an all-pro. If we judge anything off of the Chicago Bears
it's
track
Bears.
record with quarterbacks.
Here's the only thing that really bothers me about the whole quarterback thing, and I get like the restarting of the clock and not paying a lot of money. I get that.
Yeah.
I just don't think if you're going to go ahead with Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy at OC, I don't know. How is Caleb Williams any different or Drake May any different than what Justin Fields
The fact that they haven't cleaned house. The fact that they haven't cleaned house.
That's the frustrating part for me.
And okay, let's say they were a 7-win team this year that was decent and that dealt with the Justin Fields injury and they won 7 games and maybe they had like a 12 or 13 overall pick. This team has the number 1 overall pick in the top 10. They have 2 top 10 picks.
Yes.
This is the time to reset the organization.
And did you also see that the number 1 pick, if you trade it this year, will probably fetch more than it did last year for Bryce Young?
And honestly, I don't hate that option either. I don't hate them doing it again and trading that pick because I think they get a ton for it.
I heard someone throw this out there, and I know this is way easier said than done. But let's say, just for the sake of argument, Washington trades up to the number 1 pick because they want Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
And you hold the number, you take their number 2 pick.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have a couple of sweeteners in there, 3rd round picks, 2nd round picks, whatever it is, maybe a player, who knows. You're sitting at number 2. Do you immediately take quarterback, or do you swing back again for somebody else who wants Drake May?
If you're keeping Justin Fields, then you swing back again because you got the Vikings, you got the Falcons, you got the Patriots, you got 3 more at least quarterback needy teams that are in the top 12, and you're hoping, honestly, at the end of the day, that it's the Falcons or the Vikings, because if you come up from 9-2 or 12-2, you're paying an absolute premium, and you continue to build this team that, despite the draft capital that they have gotten over the past couple of years, are still a pretty talentless team.
Yeah.
Outside of Justin Fields and DJ Moore and Montez Sweat and a couple other pieces.
I think their
they don't have much.
Their biggest position of need, weirdly enough, and this I get this. This is my brother. My brother works at 670 Score. Alex works at 670 Score, and they talk about it all the time. That one of their biggest positions of need is still along the O-line at center. They need somebody there because they have Darnell Wright, they have Tevin Jenkins, they have Braxton Jones.
Yep.
Like they have a decent core of young guys that are going to grow into themselves. They just don't have anybody at center right now, so they need to find somebody there. But ultimately, if I'm the Bears and I'm thinking rationally, you probably take Caleb Williams at 1, and then at 9, unless you trade up even a little higher, you try to get Roma Dunze or something like that,
or Malik Neighbors,
something like that. Now, the other thought would be keep Justin Fields, get Marvin Harrison Jr. and trade down, do all those things, which I wouldn't be totally against either. But this is just sort of one of those moments in the Bears' organizational history where they have to hit, and they have to make the right decision. Because I think Matt Eberflus is going to be gone, but also Ryan Poles has to be careful about keeping his damn job. It feels like he just got there, too.
He did, second year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are going to wrap it up. We appreciate you guys for joining us. If you are watching on YouTube,
hey, real quick.
Yeah.
That shit up.
I know what Kenny's about to say because I've been seeing it come in.
Breaking news. Gabe, give the announcement.
This sucks to bring off the end of the show because we're not going to talk about it all that heavily. John Morant's out for the year. He has a labrum tear that he's going to have to get surgery on.
Oof.
Yep. And then let's see. Shams Charania, since he does all this, he says, suffered a subluxation of his right shoulder on Saturday after ongoing soreness and instability, and there is that labral tear. So they're not going to have John Morant for the rest of the year.
So much
tank season, baby.
Yeah, so much for any optimism or that sling.
Vince Williams Jr. give him about 40 minutes a game. See what you got.
Hey, let's see what Gigi has, man. Let's go see what Gigi has.
At this
point, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, if he's out, Steven's out, Brandon Clark's out.
It's so chalked.
Dunzo.
It is so
chalked.
Just tank. All right, we appreciate you guys for joining us.
That's terrible.
Sorry to end on such a bad note, but that is where we at. So we appreciate you guys for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.